Hello again. So today I want to talk about another line or two lines from the Verses on the Faith Mind by the third Zen patriarch Sensang. They're very simple. If you wish to see the truth, then cease to cherish opinions. If you wish to see the truth, then cease to cherish opinions. And I think these lines, well, you could see them almost at the heart of Buddhism, at the heart of what it's teaching, is because of our craving, because we have desire for all sorts of things that we suffer. But opinions, we don't usually think of opinions as connected to wanting or craving. But actually, our opinions, our views, our attitudes are the deepest thing that we hold on to. In some ways, it's quite easy to see that, we don't need all the material things that we have and that we could do probably with a lot less. I think we can all see that. But actually, our opinions, that's different, isn't it? That's almost like, well, they're almost sacred to us. We identify them with who we are, with what we are. They seem really important. And we compare them to other people's opinions. We tend to like people that have the same opinions as us, or at least share some understanding of each other's opinions. But actually, we're very much centered in our own belief system to such an extent that it seems like the way that life is, the way that the world is. And we don't see that it isn't, that this is a complete delusion. So what happens when we have got opinions? Well, they're very loud. They're very fixed. They seem like a part of what we are, or even the whole of what we are. And they mean that they block off other opinions, other ideas. So we can see that ultimately they separate us from other people. They separate us from other living beings. So, yes, I once had an interesting conversation with somebody about vegetarianism. And the person that I was talking to had the opinion that we have got incisor teeth, which we have. We've got teeth that she was arguing that are made for ripping apart meat. And that meant that we should be eating meat because we have got the teeth that are prepared, that are there to be ripping apart meat. And I thought that was a really interesting opinion because it was a fair argument. There we are. We've got a particular body with particular needs. We've developed in a particular way. But also intelligence and awareness has developed even before we come to Buddhism, just innately. So over millions of years, we learnt how to use tools, for example. We learned how staying in one place and growing crops was a very useful thing. So there has been an evolution of our brains and of our awareness. And alongside that is, you could say, a growing understanding of other living beings, of other human beings. So, they are different opinions. So I could have reacted. I could have thought, well, that's an ignorant view, isn't it? Because of this, this, and this. But actually, well, it's a different way of looking at things. So if I had held, in a way, it doesn't matter whether one is superior view to the other. What matters is how we hold on to them. So, for example, I could have had an argument. I could have fallen out with somebody over an opinion, and people do. So, for example, I noticed that when COVID started, there were some very, very strong views about how people should behave and what they should be doing. And people polarised tremendously, to the extent that I know that some people fell out to the extent that they couldn't talk to each other again. Friendships that had been long-standing, and they couldn't find a common ground. It sometimes happens with politics as well, doesn't it? So it's a lack of trying to understand another person. Opinions really get in the way. And in a way, we have opinions as soon as we open our eyes, as soon as we interact with other people, as soon as we see the world, we have opinions. It's another way, really, of saying we have preferences. And those preferences separate us. They also preoccupy us and keep ourselves small. So those verses of the faith mind, all of them, actually, all those verses, they open us up. They encourage us to relax into a larger space, a space where, in a way, anything is possible and we're completely open. We're not holding or grasping opinions or views. It's a very relaxed and calm place to be. And that's why I often talk about how, you know, if we're in touch with our body, particularly when we're in communication with others, if we're in touch deeply with our body and know how we react, we can catch those reactions before they become fixed. And our bodily sensations can actually affect the way that we think. So one of the examples I often give is I used to have to be in some meetings. And I am a person with quite a lot of views. I recognise them, you know, and I try to hold them more lightly nowadays. So anyway, I had views. And one view I had is that in a meeting, it needs to be efficient. You need to get through whatever it is you need to discuss and move on and so on. And most of the people in this meeting were the sort of people that like to think a lot and talk a lot. Some of them like to talk externally, think externally, as it were. So they like to sort out what they think by talking it all through. Whereas I'm quite a fast thinker. So I kind of know what I think and I'm willing to say it. So I would get really frustrated in these meetings. You know, can we not just move on? You know, have we not come to a decision? And I would get so frustrated. Well, I realised after a while that I was giving myself a headache. You know, the meeting wasn't giving me a headache. The other people weren't giving me a headache. I was giving myself a headache. And I was doing it by polarising, by having opinions and having views that I felt were better than other people's views. And that was giving me a headache. So I decided that in future at these meetings, I was going to listen more deeply and I was going to relax and I was going to be in my body and just notice what happened. And you won't be surprised to hear that my headaches disappeared. I came to a point where, yes, I could relax in those meetings and I didn't have to be right. I didn't have to move it along. I could just listen more deeply. And that was really good because it connected me more to the other people at the meeting. And of course, they found me easier as well. So just the other part of the lines that I said, if you wish to see the truth, then cease to cherish opinions. If you wish to see the truth. So the truth does not come by holding on to our opinions. It's a bit like the other lines that I gave you the other day. Stop talking and thinking and there is nothing you will not be able to know. You know, in a way, we hold on to our thoughts, our opinions, our views, and that separates us and it gives us a lot of pain. Because when we come up against others, we feel the discrepancy. We feel at odds. So if we could stop polarising, basically we'd be enlightened. If we really stop polarising. if we could rest in the space of not knowing. I'll leave it there for today. Bye-bye.